Welcome back to the Rombough podcast. We have a special guest today, my buddy, Brock Dunlap.
How we doing?
Welcome to the show. So today, we're going to talk about the number one show on television right now, Severance. We're on season 2, episode 3 just dropped. We're recording this Sunday evening about 5:43 Central Time. And it's been... Season 2's definitely been a lot more different than season 1. Mm-hmm. You put me onto this show. I didn't know it was a thing. It came out in February of 2022, so it's been about 3 years since they started it.
Yep.
But for the viewers that don't know what Severance is, what's a little recap of season 1?
Yeah, so basically in the show, there's a biotech company called Lumen, and they implant a chip into a certain amount of employees that work on a certain level. That basically split their work and outside lives, and so they go down an elevator when they clock in and just completely forget everything.
Yeah.
Like, they know their names obviously, but they have no idea what they do for work. Like, even when they're at work, they don't know what they do. They just click a bunch of random numbers and
they don't know what they do all day.
They have no
idea. They just wake up and then it's the end of the day. It's 5:30 and they're going home.
So their outside lives, they go down an elevator, and then to that version of themselves, they're just leaving work again at 5 o'clock. It's crazy.
It's definitely like science fiction-y, and it's a very unique concept. But you can also see how it's created, the monotony of just like every day doing the same thing, like especially people that work like 9 to 5 jobs, just going in and just clocking out can just feel like very robotic. The show stars Adam Scott, who we know from like Parks and Rec. I watched him in Party Down. You've seen him in a couple movies.
Yeah, like Step Brothers, Secret Life of Walter Mitty. He's kind of been the bad guy in those, but this one he's very wholesome. He's just down on his luck guy who took the procedure to he did it because he lost his wife in a car accident, so he took the severance job just to kind of get away from the pain.
And the cool thing about the show is his wife actually works, or she worked at Loomis. We find that out later. Like in season 1, they would you didn't know anything going in, which was like pretty cool watching it because it kind of doesn't over-explain itself. Like you kind of have to pick it up as it goes.
A lot of mystery going on.
Yeah, so like we saw with his wife, as you mentioned, like she died in a car wreck, but then he saw her, or as the season 1 unfolded, then the team was trying to like figure out what do we do on the outside. Like they were trying to like figure it out, and the huge finale at the end, like they all like switched for a little bit of time because our dude Zach Cherry, Dylan in the show, he was able to switch. Able to like do a little control thing where they could switch their Audi and Indy.
Overtime contingency, and they're Lumen's able to switch them to their work selves, their innies as they call them, whenever they want to from within the company. And so when they figured out that they can do that, they stole one of the key cards from a security guard. And the finale of season 1, Dylan did that to the rest of the team, and so they woke up in the outside world not knowing what it would be like.
And that's when, at the end of season 1, that's when the main character, Mark S., played by Adam Scott, he was able to see what's her name, Miss Casey, who was like his really strict boss in Lumen, was actually his wife. So then he realized that she wasn't actually dead, because you can't be alive as an innie. The innie and Audi are connected. Like if you die in an Audi, then your innie's like dead too. So
they're the same person, just split. They just split their brains in a weird way. And so she was a wellness director, and she kind of like was the therapist for the office of the people that were severed, and she would like tell the innies about their outside selves to like just calm them down if they were, being weird or whatever. And so we saw her all season and never saw Adam Scott's wife. And then finally at the very second to last episode, we see the picture of them two on their wedding day, and it's like
That was like
it's a crazy twist.
that was probably one of the craziest moments of season 1. It was definitely like
Yeah.
I like the element of like unraveling. You're learning a little bit from each episode, and I kind of liked how in certain prestige TV shows they'll have like a full episode dedicated to one character.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get that. Like we kind of got that a little bit in season 2, episode 3 with Dylan's character.
Yeah.
Because you were able to see his wife. Because now in season 2, they're kind of
their outside selves are like celebrities now because
yeah.
the news found out that like all of society knows that Lumen does this to their employees, that they sever them, and when they did the overtime contingency thing, everyone figured it out, and Lumen was like, what do we do now? And
But
now
also
they're, like,
that was from
celebrities.
Mr. Milchick telling them that.
Yeah,
But also he's kind of like he's a weird character because
he's interesting.
he's always like he's I mean the Lumen employees like Patricia Arquette's character Cobell, she and Milchick didn't get severed, so they're just kind of like
Yeah, so they come and go as they please, knowing everything about their inside and outside lives. Like,
because he told them like when they woke up finally, he said, "Yeah, it's been 5 months, but I don't think it has been. It's only been a couple months since." Because you can't really like trust what he says,
oh yeah,
but also like because sometimes he seems a little bit more trustworthy than Coble, especially in season 1. But also it's kind of like hard to tell because we don't even know with Lumen. Like, there's been theories about they're kind of like the. What'd you say, the Apple or they're like Disney kind of, they're like just a big corporation, but we don't really know what they do. Like they are kind of.
Yeah, I feel like they're the BlackRock of the real world. Like they just kind of have their hands in every pocket, and you know we don't even know what they do in the show's real world or outside world. I mean, and like we still have no idea what they do. We don't know what they advertise to the public. I mean, they're just like a science, probably like some pharmaceuticals or something. But
Yeah. I mean, they might just, I think, I don't know if we'll see, we'll kind of go into predictions for what we think will be for the rest of the season. In terms of Helena, she's kind of like the second, I mean, we have like the core 4, right? Like,
yeah.
We got
Mark,
Irving, Dylan, Mark, and then Helena, who we found out was the CEO's daughter. And so, because she, in season 1, she had like a very different experience from her outie and innie. Like her innie was just didn't want to be there and all that, and she tried to like commit suicide multiple times.
Yeah, she tried to chop off her fingers. Like she did not want to be there, and her outie just kept coming back to work and going down the elevator, and said in a video like, "You are not a person. If you try to injure yourself, like I will, make you regret it, pretty much." And so we're always wondering what her outie was doing, and we realized that she was a CEO's daughter all along.
That was a big reveal too. That, and then Mark's wife was probably the biggest like what is going on moments.
Yeah.
And then so far in season 2, we were watching the Vanity Fair episode with or the Vanity Fair YouTube video with Ben Stiller. I didn't even know Ben Stiller, like this is all him. Like I didn't even know that, which is pretty cool. But him and Adam Scott were kind of going through how they did the sequence in episode 1 of season 2, and that was like a really good moment to kind of get you back into it, and how the reality for Mark is we've seen it in season 2, like he's trying to burn like who was alive into his retina.
Yeah.
And then we saw at the end of season 3, or the end of episode 3 for season 2, he's trying to get reintegrated, which his buddy Petey tried to do in season 1, and he actually ended up dying because the complications with reintegration. Because there's what's the girl that's trying to get him reintegrated? Is she's just like a friend?
I'm not sure, but she is a part of the group. There's a group in the show that want to take down the severance process in general, and they're trying to fight against Lumen. And there was those protester kids when Mark was on a date with his sister's. What are they called? The lady who was trying to help her with the birth.
Oh, like a
kid.
midwife?
Yeah, the midwife.
Oh, the midwife,
and so
yeah.
when they were on the date, the kids were like, Severance is bad, and like Mark just rips into him. And so I think she works for those people, and she's trying to take down the Severance process and Lumen in general.
So for the reintegration process, we see at the end of episode 3, Mark's beginning the process, like he has all these wires attached to his head, and we see him flipping back and forth. The editing goes like really insane at the end of the episode, and it's him back on the table, because when you get severed, you wake up on the table for some reason. Like, it's really humiliating, and like it's super weird to wake up that way, but
Crazy.
someone's telling you, like, they're asking you questions to see if you remember anything from right before you became severed, because the questions are like, what's
it's the first one is who are you in general, and so they remember their names, but they're obviously waking up for the first time in a conference room. Then they say, like, who is your mother, like what was your mother's eye color, like where are you from, just like basic stuff, and they have no idea. And so first episode of the entire series is Helly on the table, and it's Mark asking her questions, and she just has no idea. And then Mark walks in and goes, "That was a perfect score," and we're like, "What is going on?"
And she throws the speaker at his head.
That was a good one.
So for some questions that, I mean, probably the whole audience has, and kind of probably what's going to get unveiled probably the rest of the season. There's these baby goats that we saw. I believe it's been in season 2, where like this dude is feeding them for some reason, like Mark, because now it's kind of like Mark and Helly just go off on these side quests in season 2. And so they went down they found this little doggy door, but like a goat door or whatever, and they were just walking through. And it was funny because the hall, like it was like the hallways, but it was small just for goats. And they go out into this big room with grass, and every single wall in Lumen is just white. Like, it kind of like is a prison, like it's been mentioned, where
just like the most corporate hallways you've ever seen.
Yeah.
With luminescent lights.
Seeing it with like grass and all these goats, and then there was this one like crazy worker, and she's like, "Oh, you're here to kill me," and then they're just kind of like, "No, we're just here to like chill." And then Mark's still trying to like figure out more about his wife, and now he has a piece of paper with her face on it saying missing.
Yeah.
So now
So they're looking for Miss Casey, because the innies know that like people retire or leave, but when Mark's innie woke up in the outside world, he saw the picture of himself and Gemma, his outside wife's real name, together, and he ran to try to tell his sister, like, she's alive. And as soon as he said she's alive, they got switched back, and he became his outside self again, who thinks that his wife is dead. And so next time the innie woke up was Mr. Milchick told him 3 months later or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so he immediately ran to try to find Miss Casey, and found that the wellness center had been stripped away and it's not there anymore. So they've been trying to find Miss Casey the past 3 episodes.
And it's definitely hard to tell, like I was talking about earlier, like what to trust with time for the innies with Mr. Milchick, because obviously things have changed a bit, because the wellness room is like nothing now. We see that, like, it's
so just a blank. They just took the doors away completely.
They took the doors, they took like everything away, and then the old security room is now somewhere for like visitation, because we see in this episode Dylan meets with his wife, his Audi's wife. So he doesn't know her at all, which is like a weird concept. But then they get to talking a little bit, and she
shows him pictures of the kids.
She shows him a picture of like the kids, and then she's talking about how, like, yeah, my husband's never really found like his purpose or like a job or whatever. And then we see them on the outside, and Dylan was just kind of chilling.
Yeah, he was just like on the couch watching the kids watch TV, and she seems to be an overnight security guard that we see, or just some overnight. She has a job that requires her to be gone all night, and so I mean they look to be in a happy relationship, but they just look down on their luck, you know?
Yeah, it just seems kind of like, I don't know if, because Dylan, his visitation, I'm trying to think if there will be more. I mean, there has to be more in the visitation room. Like, but do you
Yeah.
think it'll be like Mark's sister will come down and visit him, or do you think maybe like?
I don't think so because Mr. Milchek brought the blueprints to Dylan and was like, "We're gonna do this for you." Straight
Yeah,
up.
because because we were talking about it earlier. Dylan and Helena or Helly they're like, we hate Lumen, like they're not with it. But then again, Dylan's also like a really good worker. He had a waffle party in season 1 because he's such a good worker. Like
The
they gave him a
waffle
little
party.
celebration, and then I think they're trying to get him like back onto Lumen's side because he was the one that was down to try to
Yeah.
destroy it all. Like
He's the one that held the flips together, or the things you had to do for the overtime contingency thing to make them wake up, and he was pretty fired up about that.
yeah.
And so now they're trying to incentivize him, because he's always been like, I got the most finger traps, or
Yeah.
like, he's got the most completions in his whatever they do there. So
I think definitely with Dylan, that's definitely the character that I've been kind of waiting for to see like what his outside world is a little bit because he's so into Lumen.
Mhm.
And then we did know, like we found out that he had a wife and that he had kids. And then so for like the core 4 of these main characters, obviously Mark's on his own journey with the reintegration, and then Helena she's like always with Mark. Like when they're in Lumen, they're always together. We
Yeah.
haven't really seen too much of her on the outside. I think we'll probably expect more of that, I hope.
We just know that she's very pro Severance. She seems to be kind of an evil person. We don't really know if Lumen's like that horrible yet, but
And we one of the things we do, the questions we have going forward is like, who's the board? Because we have Natalie, the secretary character that we're seeing a little bit more. She kind of intimidates Milchek because he's kind of dealing with what Cobell dealt with, where she was kind of like the boss, but she's not the main. Like she's kind of just the manager of the.
she's kind of just the messenger.
She's kind of just the like middleman for
Whoever the
Lumen
board
and
is.
like the Helena's dad and all them, and the board is something that we need to find out the rest of the season. And then you mentioned Cold Harbor.
Yeah.
That was mentioned in season 1, I believe, or
No.
maybe season 2. Oh, this episode.
This episode.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
So Cold Harbor is something that Mark's Cobell said he's almost complete with.
Yes.
So we got to find out what that is.
So that when they're at their computers, they just have a screen of numbers, and they just have to get a feeling. It's really weird, but they get a feeling of like where to put numbers, and their department's called Macro Data Refinement, and so they don't have any idea what they're refining. And so when they put the numbers into a box, it's a completion bar, and that's how Dylan gets all his incentives for being a good worker. And so they fire Miss Cobell, made Mr. Milchek the head of the severed floor. And so Miss Cobell wants to come back, and Helena, the Audi, said, like, why do you want to do that? And she's like, Mark is so close to completing Cold Harbor. And we have no idea what that means.
Yeah, and then Helena was talking about, because she was like, you're underestimating, like, we didn't really need you, because Cobell was like, you needed me, but like, I think there's a lot more there's a lot more at play than we think.
She was the only one that, she thought she was the only one that could, like, manage the floor correctly or whatever, and she's like, Mr. Milchek can't do it, like, he sucks, and yeah. Haley's like, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
So.
The difference between what I really like about the show is like, for the actors and the actresses, like the duality of their outie and innie is something really interesting. Like Adam Scott's, you can tell immediately when it's. I mean, other than his hair not being perfect, like they have like physical qualities that are a little different. But Britt Lauer's character of Helly and Helena, the difference between the two, like she was. The way she was talking to Cobell in that was like, because when she's an innie, she's just kind of like Mark's, like, not his little puppy, but she's kind of just all over Mark. And like they almost, it looked like they were gonna kind of kiss in.
They did in the season 1 finale.
Season 1 finale, they did kiss, and then they were kind of looking like they were in this episode. But I definitely think that. I mean, maybe because Helena doesn't have a love interest, we don't know how she is on the outside. So this might be her only kind of avenue for that.
Because Yeah, they kissed in season 1 finale, and then this most recent episode, they're just on a exploration together about the goats. But I think episode 1 or 2 of season 2, Mark was saying like our 80s and outies are pretty much the same person, and so she woke up in the finale of season 1 seeing that she was the CEO's daughter, and her innie hates Lumen, so she's like, what the heck is going on? So when Mark said that, she was like, no, we're not the same person. And she refused to tell them what she woke up to. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
They all talked about like
she lied. She lied, and she was like, "Oh no, I just kind of like."
Yeah, she's like, it was in my apartment watching TV. Sorry, nothing cool happened.
That was like the biggest reveal, because then you're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
So everybody thinks they're just like normal people on the outside. They don't know about Helena yet.
So we got, for the core 4, we got Mark and Helena. They're on their own thing. Zach Cherry's character Dylan, him and his wife, we're probably going to learn more about that. And then we got John Turturro's character Irving, and he's kind of been like, he was probably the least interesting character to me in the first season, just because he was kind of like just all for Lumen. And then we found out a lot more at the end of season 1, and in season 2 we've kind of found it out. He had a little bit of a love dynamic with Christopher Walken's character. And so he realized that, or when he was doing the overtime switch, he saw Christopher Walken had a partner in the outside world.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is fair, because you don't know what the outside and the inside. You can have a love interest in one and a love interest in the other and not know it. So it's, I mean, it is what it is, but for Irving, his thing was painting on the outside. He would paint this export hallway, and that's where we saw Miss Casey, Gemma, go in season 1. And we didn't really, like, know much, so we were like, okay, this character's leaving, like, whatever. Yeah. But then we found out later, we were like, oh. But then we think, is the export mean they're, like, gone forever, or...
Yeah, we don't know if they, like, killed her or put her in some, like, prison, but the severed floor is the very lowest floor, at least we thought, of Lumen, and the elevator they go down is just one singular down arrow, and then in this export hallway, we see one red arrow pointing down. So she's going even deeper.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's down there, but yeah, Irving's Audi just constantly paints this black hallway with a red arrow. We don't know how his Audi knows about this. He shouldn't.
I think he's definitely got to be more connected.
Like intertwined with Lumen.
I think so, yeah.
He could be.
Because in his outside world, he was a veteran. You mentioned something that his dog.
Yeah, right. He had a dog named Radar. Yeah.
He had a dog.
Lived by himself, I'm pretty sure. Likes to play music. I think he had a guitar case, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he has like 20 or 30 paintings of just the same hallway. And his innie, Irving, has like, in season 1 we see him have hallucinations while he's at his desk. And there's like black goo falling from the ceilings or like over the computer or whatever. And we're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But then we just realized that's all the black paint from all these paintings he's making. And
yeah.
So when he goes to O&D in this episode, you want to continue?
O&D?
Yeah, when he goes went to look for Miss Casey.
Oh, yeah, because the O&D was where Christopher Walken's character was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they kind of met up. And then he was talking with, I don't know the lady's name in the show, but he was talking with this lady about...
Felicia.
He was talking with her. And I think they're having like a little bit of a connection. Like they were like joking around, laughing, and talking about stuff.
They're talking about Bert.
Oh, talking about Bert, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'll see Bert again.
I don't think so either.
I think Christopher Walken. But if we do, it might be... I don't know how they would work it back in, but...
Yeah, they're just... I mean, he retired in season 1, and so it was just kind of sad for Irving, but they were just kind of joking, like, just being fond of the past, pretty much, and he was just showing her his drawings of Bert, and then she accidentally saw his paint. He recreated the painting that his Audi draws.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he woke up, he saw all of them, and he's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then we went back into work, he drew it in a notebook, and so she was like, how do you know about this?
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, I don't know, my Audi paints it.
Oh, yeah, also I forgot. One of the things we could talk about is Miss Wong, like the little girl.
Yeah.
That's been a like big addition to season 2 because even Dylan, our guy, was like asking her questions. He was like, "Why are you here? Like, are they keeping you here?"
Yeah.
Because I mean, we haven't seen a child like severed.
Nope.
And I don't know if they mentioned. I mean, I think they talked about it a little bit, like other people getting severed. Like, I mean, they have it like what 270 buildings across the country or whatever. Like, it's lumens just across the world. Like, lumens just everywhere.
They're all over.
Everybody's getting severed. Like, everybody's doing it. So I'm obviously like Miss Wong. We'll have to see where that goes. Like the little girl character, because she's very like intimidating. Like, she's kind of like a Milchick. Like.
Yeah, she's higher ranking, but she's like half their age.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
At the least. And so, yeah, Dylan being like, are they keeping you here? Like, are you forced to be here? Like,
do you think she could be the daughter of one of the core 4? Like Irving's daughter? Or I mean, not Dylan's daughter, because we've seen his kids.
I don't know, but...
Helena? No. Like, Helena and Mark had her as, like, an adopted... I don't know.
Maybe.
Because she is Asian, so, like...
Yeah.
She's not... The core 4, none of them are Asian, so, like...
That's because I was thinking about that, too. Like, maybe she has something to do with the CEO, but... It is weird that she's so young and she acts like she's been in the corporate world forever.
Yeah, that's something that I think will be like interesting to look forward to. If we can look ahead to predictions for the rest of the season. I kind of like to just go with the flow and let it unravel the way it goes. Obviously, I think like the most interesting characters like the core 4, like Miss Wong.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific predictions you think will happen?
I mean, the season. Obviously they're up to something shady and we don't know what they do yet, but yeah, I'm just hoping that Mark finds out that his wife is alive very soon when he is reintegrated, but we'll see in episode 4 more about that. Yeah, I don't really like to make too many predictions. Mm-hmm. Just kind of like, because so many movies and TV shows are a little predictable. This one's not predictable at all, but I like to just let it happen and figure it out. Yeah, I definitely think the thing to look forward to most is like the reintegration. Like they know what they're doing. Ben Stiller, they know what they're doing. They know how to end it on a cliffhanger. I kind of love the concept of the weekly release. Like, this is one of the shows that I like, because normally with shows you're able to just binge them, but I kind of like the anticipation that, because it gets you to think, because obviously this show is like very thought-provoking and I love all the characters. Like, I love how you get to know them little by little. Yeah. But yeah, do you have any final thoughts on Severance season 2 episode 3? Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. The weekly is amazing. When my friend Carson put me on the show back in the day, all the episodes were already out. So I watched all of season 1 in one night and just kind of had to sit on it. And then obviously kind of faded away. But with season 2 dropping, we rewatched season 1 and now we're finally figuring it out. It's definitely a different vibe. Season 1 was just kind of not too mysterious, but you're just kind of figuring out what was going on. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with Miss Casey, Miss Wong, and the exportation hallway. Yeah, that dark hallway is crazy.